understand.
It's the thing that Black Swan is ripping apart.
Oh, okay.
Recording in progress.
All right. Is that single palette? Make sure this is. That's so good. Okay. Wait for the little message, and then we can actually go.
I gotta exit out of it.
Normally
So
there's a
should we
little
talk about the
message
Winterguard message, or are we just gonna chill on that for now?
The Winterguard.
Poland may have leaked them today.
What?
Basically, Asmodee hates AMG, and so with the looming mini extravaganza, there is a Winterguard leak today.
Yeah, we have a pretty real confirmation that Ursa Major, Red Guardian, Crimson Dynamo, and at least one other character will be coming out in the near future.
Are you
It's
serious?
in multiple stores. Yeah.
Where is this at?
It's on the various discords. I don't think it's in spoilers, but like my SoCal's popping and talking about it right now. That's why I brought it up.
Oh, okay. It's not pictures of them. It's just like on the store.
It's the same thing that we've seen for like X23 and Badger, where it's just like some store in Poland.
I mean, I'd be pretty cool with a Winter Guardian and Ursa Major.
Oh hell yeah, Big Bear Man. I like him.
Okay. All right. We are good to go now. All right. I'm hitting the button.
Cool.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Maximum effort. In this war, there's no surrender. He's not alive, but he's right. Who the hell is Bucky?
You don't like a fair fight.
I think you're wrong. Which part? All of it.
Think you're the only superhero in the world?
Touche.
Okay. So we're running a little late. Only an hour and 15 minutes. You know, it's first time. It's all good though. You know, we're here. We're doing it.
Yeah. Real life.
Real life. This is what happens when we say we're doing live episodes. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it. Welcome to the Rogue Agents. I gotta figure out what I'm saying here. This is like the fun part about doing it live is people get to see like me blunder over words. But I like what Wait Did I Roll a While does, where he's just like, welcome to the vlog. It makes you crack up every time. But anyways, are those blue light glasses or are those glasses?
Those are blue light glasses with a 0.5 magnification because I'm old.
I think we might have the same pair.
Oh, there we go. See?
Okay, let's
I'm just trying to cover these dark circles.
Oh, completely fair. I'm right there with you. All right. Anyways, completely off tangent. Anyways, welcome to the Rogue Agents again, and we'll go ahead and get going with this again. Sorry for being late. Innovation's key, right? We're innovating timelines. Good with the wits. All right. So let's go ahead and get into announcements real quick. I don't think anything new. I guess Hyper, do you want to talk about that one thing real quick?
The thing we were just speaking about.
Yeah, the one thing we were just speaking about.
Yeah. So there's a tentative leak right now that the Winterguard are coming, the Russian Avengers basically. It's the same folks who've confirmed a couple of leaks in the past, so we're semi sure it's gonna happen. So be on the lookout for a big old bear to be on your table soon.
Oh,
big old commie bear. Not just any bear.
He's a classically communist bear too. He actually there have been multiple instances of him like going rogue or whatever, and then you just find him in a shack in the middle of Siberia drinking vodka.
Good. I don't know if you guys ever heard of like Flames of War, but I used to play Flames of War. It's like probably my first miniature game because that came out before War Machine, if I remember correctly. And I played the Soviets. It's a World War II game. So I might have to play these Winter Guardian people. So much fun.
I'll give everything a test.
I love bears too, though, because it's like they're super cool, especially when you get like miniatures of them. I played Hunters for Guild Ball. I loved Cena. So much fun. But yeah, the other announcements, we haven't seen anything yet on Supergiant or Black Swans. So Sam,
unfortunately,
I was hoping for something today. I have a question for you guys. A little speculation corner. Do you think that we're gonna get vertical or horizontal cards with them.
Ooh.
I hope vertical because I don't like the way the horizontal cards work or look. Excuse me.
Well, it's like if you think about it, it's been pretty much a year since they announced they were switching to horizontal cards. It's getting close to a year, anyways. So I imagine we should be starting to see horizontal cards here soon because they said that everything should be shifting to horizontal. So, that's just my thoughts.
I think Winterguard, like assuming they come out for mini extravaganza, I think mini extravaganza will be when they shift over.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna hope that we get our last little bit of Black Order right before that happens.
then we can have a full. Well, I guess Corvus and Proxima are horizontal, but
Who plays them?
yeah, you're right. Nobody plays them. If you're playing Bucky and Black Order, though, you know. All right, Hyper, do you want to go over your grunt kill challenge of the week from last week?
Yeah, I first of all I want to applaud everybody for not making very similar lists because I think the first comment after Dizzard posed the challenge last week, someone was like, I see some Black Order builds with Thanos on the horizon. And then immediately I think we got one
Yeah.
Black Order list and it was Ulysses. So that's a big shocker. So shout out to Mitch, Ulysses, and I think that's everyone who used him for playing Bob, Agent of Hydra, who is one of my favorite characters in this game. Oh no, Lexa also put Bob at her list. So yeah, shout out to the Bob folks representing. But my favorite list that I saw was Broccoli Violets because he has Killmonger, Carnage, and Craven, which is just thematically hunty. And then he also has Nebula, who's another probably not going to hunt down grunts because then she can't pick anything up. But on the other side of that, nobody will be able to pick them up because they get dropped the other direction if they're shield grunts. So you might as well just have Nebula do it. But yeah,
wait. Didn't I have Craven and Carnage and
you do have Craven and Carnage, but you don't have Nebula or Killmonger. And I like
Okay,
Killmonger farming tokens off the grunts. You were the next one, I promise. You were very close to the top of the pyramid.
Runner up.
Fair.
But yeah, and you've come very close to selling me on Carnage in just about every list I play. I gotta really take another solid look at him. But yeah, Broccoli Violet, you win this week. I like your list. I like the one part I don't like is Monkey Brain is Lizard Home because I think that card is silly. But yeah, no, you got it. You got a solid setup there.
Well, I mean, like I want to kind of hit on what Hyper's talking about with me selling him on Carnage. We played a game last weekend, and he was trying to figure out what he wants to do with his list, and I was telling him that he should just swap out Voodoo for Carnage because he doesn't really have anything that's like absolutely going against grunts if he does see them. But Carnage is, like let me just fully heal Carnage off of a character that doesn't mean anything besides extracts. Like so gross. Go Carnage. Carnage is just money.
Yeah. The only reason I haven't made that swap already is because I only have one character who does mystic damage in that list. So it's kind of like, I want some variety.
I mean, so if you're pumping up Carnage's attack dice with Thanos, though, do you really need Mystic when he's pumping 7 dice and getting 3 attacks off of that?
No, probably not. It's just another tactics card slot too.
You could also make it 9 dice.
Yeah.
And then you just take. You could also take Carnage's tractor beam too, and that's always good. It's always good. I miss playing Carnage.
Good card is so good. No, I love Carnage. One of my favorite characters in this game.
And he's such a cool model too. Love the model.
Mm-hmm.
Did he heal off the splash damage?
No, it's off of the Paint the Town Red. He just full heals. So he full heals off of the Paint the Town Red.
Yeah, it's when he kills somebody.
It's like
right. But can he trigger Paint the Town Red? Can he trigger Paint the Town Red off the splash damage?
Anytime he kills somebody, he could trigger Paint the Town Red. Once per turn, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
you need him to be able to trigger it off of every single kill. But I mean, like, because I used to abuse Carnage with Doom Prophecy back when you could, because 10 die builder, like he's gonna be flush and powered. So if you get him on his backside, like take Blind Obsession, Thanos boosting, you're close. It's not quite the same, but it's close.
I always felt that, and I used it a couple times, but I always felt that Doom Prophecy Carnage was like a little too much gun, to quote Mike Ehrmantraut.
It's
oh man.
It was either going to work really well for you or work really badly for you because you just whiffed, and then all of a sudden it's like, I needed that to actually work.
Yeah, there's no more depressing feeling in this game than whiffing like 10 die attacks.
Well, like with that whole strategy, it was your eggs were literally all in one basket. Especially when you were playing foes with it, because then like the rest of your foes are really just there to keep the game going, and Carnage is the one who basically gives you your swing turn to let you like
He's the one who ends it.
go hard. But yeah, it was always good and stressful fun.
So what do we see? Thanos, Carnage, Bucky? Is that
Yeah,
Dude,
On
that's
the
a
table?
solid 15, baby. Let's go.
I mean
Let's
that's
play
not
some gamma.
that's actually not a bad 15, because if they go towards the middle point, you just cosmic portal Carnage up, and he's hitting the middle point. Oh, and then once the day's Carnage is good for you, because one, he's gonna be on his backside for more dice, and two,
Yeah, I like what would that
Bucky.
be? 11 die builders with
Yeah.
Death Decree and his personal boost distinctly.
yeah. Oh, it's
I'll
so
give that the
gross.
stamp of approval.
It'd be a good time. Good time. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the main topic of today, because there's no other announcements unless. Sam, do you want to talk about your event at all that you ran?
I mean, I think it's going to come up with
Okay.
the main topic today.
All right.
So
Let's
I'm
go.
not
Let's
too worried
go.
about it.
Let's go ahead and go into the main topic then. So we're talking about community building, running local events, helping new players, and maybe something else if there's more time. But that's the main focus, is talking about community building. What can you do to be a community builder, or as the episode title is be like Sam, who's an Aleph apparently.
I really hope I didn't mess up that reference.
I'm
If I,
so
they're gonna
lost.
take away my nerd card if I fuck that up. I swear.
Yeah,
Hey,
blame.
like, I mean, yeah, I'm out of the loop on that one.
Yeah, me too.
was
I
just
have
trying
no
to
idea what you
piece
were
together
talking
some
about.
stuff from comic books that I read really late at night, like 2-3 years ago, being like, who are they? Maybe, sure.
Yeah, if anybody
Oh, no,
knows,
I'm good.
Hyper
I'm good.
Viper.
They're the folks who they were created to help the builders create their final vision of the universe. I'm good. Don't
Okay.
even at me. I'm done.
Everybody at him. So yeah, anyways, we're talking about building communities and what you can do to do that, because that's what we're about. We're about helping people get into the game, building the community, and being positive. So I guess we could shoot it over to Sam to start off with. Is what do you look at when you're trying to build a community? I know you guys have a very successful community going, and it grows, and you guys do something. I like what you guys. We talked about it in the earlier episodes, but you probably hit on it again. What you guys do?
Sure. So I would say that the number one, to answer the first part of the question, the core of building a community is consistency and persistence. Don't and having a place to play. Those are kind of the three things that you really need. There's a community that's a couple hours away that I mean, they get a ton of people that just go and play at somebody's house like once a week. So I mean, your community doesn't have to be at a game store, but man, it sure is great when it is. The lighting, if you've got a place that's got snacks or beverages, that's fantastic. But playing at somebody's house, playing at a game store, you got to have a place. You got to have a place you call home, and then you got to show up there every week. Like if you say you play on Tuesdays, you got to be there every Tuesday at 6 or 7 or whenever it is that people want to start playing those games. So that's the consistency part, and then the persistence part is that like sometimes you'll show up and you might be the only person, and you just got to like stand there and suck it up. And you got to come back again the next week. For my group, it started with. I mean, there were people playing in the area before the pandemic basically shut everybody down. So, yeah. I mean, I can't come anywhere close to taking, even, a lot of credit for this. There were people who were playing, there were people who were following the game. They were just playing other games and doing other things. So there was me and there was Fred, and we played each other for about 6 months. That felt like an eternity. We would show up on Tuesdays at one store and Thursdays at another. And we would jam 2, sometimes even 3 games just to do it, unless one of us had a really bad game and just couldn't take anymore. Sometimes there was only one, but usually it was 2 or 3 games, and just having visibility and things like that. And I guess the wild card is that you got to get a little bit lucky. I mean, we didn't have a whole lot of traction. It was just literally the 2 of us. People would walk by and be like, "Whoa, that's cool. This is a Marvel game. Yeah, this is MCP, Crisis Protocol, and cool, I have some of that." We're like, "Well, cool, show up next week, like bring your stuff." Or, "Oh, I don't know how to play it. I just have some models." And the great thing about this game is it kind of sells itself, because almost everybody has some familiarity with the IP. And, once you say like, "I'm going to throw this building at you," it tends to, get some looks from around the room. So it's fun, but those we got some lucky breaks. We had a store owner that got interested in it. We had a new game store open up, and one of the guys reached out to try and get people to start running events there, and it turned out that he was pretty well connected in our local community. And so once we got some store owners that were getting more interested, once we got a little bit more of the locals to get involved, that were kind of, I don't know, simmering in the background. That was really the secret, and they're there. I almost guarantee you they're there. And if they're not there, then they're playing other games, and at some point they're gonna see you playing this and come over and at least talk to you. And then playing demos. You gotta do the Lord's work. Just play some real straightforward demos. And it's even better if you don't play it. You can just kind of coach two people that want to get into the game themselves and get them playing each other. So that's my hodgepodge recipe for success and starting a fledgling Crisis Protocol community.
I got. Oh, go ahead, Hyper.
I have a funny story on that note. I did a demo game about 2 weeks ago at my local shop. Someone was talking to Discord like, hey, I haven't played like you were saying, but I'd love to get started. I have some of the stuff. I have the core set, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, sure, come on in. And then, of course, the store got super packed with Magic people, and they actually turned them away at the door. And me and my buddy were just sitting in the corner waiting for them to show up. Like, we weren't playing, so they didn't know that we had a table space already. So I had to like go outside, like, no, dude, we got this. It's fine. Come on in. And we played a game. He wanted to try out Black Panther, so I swapped in Quicksilver because I had Brotherhood with me. And of course, this game where we're doing like demo stuff, I'm not bringing any tactics cards. We're just playing super simple. That's the game where Quicksilver triggers his secondary attack like 4 times in a row and dazes half of his team.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah.
Right.
He was like, so Quicksilver's broken, right?
I wish I could play this game.
Brings one of the literally best models in the game and faces down against God level Quicksilver. Fantastic.
That's good. So something I was gonna say is back when I think one of the biggest things you could do is like get in with like the store owner, like the store that you're trying to do this at. If you can get in really good with the store owner, then it'll go far, because one, if you can get them supporting the game that you're trying to do, MCP in this case, then that means they're going to be carrying the product, which means that they're going to be doing more willing to create space for events, which means that they're going to do this. So if you could show them that there's a following of the game and show them that it's worth hosting this game and have a good relationship with that store owner, then that'll take you far as well. Because like something that I would do when I was back in Tennessee was a local store that I would go to. I started talking to him. I'm like, hey, have you heard about this MCP game? He's like, yeah, I got a bunch of it on order because I think Marvel's really cool, but nobody really plays it around here. But I don't know what happens. Like the stuff just flies off the shelves. As soon as it's in, it's gone, but nobody's here at the store playing it. And I don't know where it's going. So then I'd go in there and I'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to come in like these days and I'll just set up a table and I'll play against myself until somebody comes in. But what I would do is I take all my painted models, because nobody really cares for the unpainted ones as much. I would take all my painted models and just like line them up around the edge of the table just to kind of show off the whole entire collection. And people would like, oh, like this game has Hulk, or oh, it has so and so, like show off the cool parts of it, like oh, who's this character, so and so. So I had like a whole entire display going on the side of the table, as well as like the game that was being played at the time. And like Sam was saying, people just walk by and be like, oh, what is this, that Marvel game? Like, because people have it. It's crazy because people have it. They're like, oh, I've never played a day in my life. I just got the model because I thought it was cool. Happens a lot, but again, like you get the store owner in on the game, like give the store owner a demo if you're having issues like getting it to run in your store. And he was all about it. Then again, COVID hit and it kind of shut everything down, so couldn't do a whole lot. And we were really excited to get things going again, but then I moved. So kind of whoops. But anyways, that's something I would highly recommend, is like set up a really cool display, get with the store owner, set up a display. If you're a painter and your store has an unpainted box for the store, talk to your owner about maybe painting the store models up for them, like, because people get attracted to the painted models more. And when you're playing, be loud and make people look and see what's going on, because like Sam was talking about, it's like, I'm gonna throw this building into Hulk, and they're like, Hulk building being thrown, because people aren't used to interactive terrain when it's part of a miniatures game,
right?
Like interactive terrain is not a thing, so being able to like say like I am throwing this building into you, like people get excited about that, like what what is happening here. So I would highly recommend doing something along those lines. Yeah, like getting with the. I think my biggest point of advice is get in with the store owner. Getting good with the store owner and make them fall in love with MCP as much as you are, and that will help your community so much. Because if the store owner is supporting the game, you will always know that they'll always have product, and they will always make room for the events. Like that's that's probably the number one piece in my opinion.
And be positive, be enthusiastic about it. Like
Yeah.
you're there to have fun. So like it's not great to like go in there with like the most broken roster that you can imagine and then talk with your whoever you do have to show up about how busted something is, or to encourage such a for lack of a better term, toxically competitive environment where you're just pushing for the most broken stuff. Like, have fun with that stuff, play with it. I do. I think everybody does to some extent, but like that's not the stuff that's like what you want to bring to game night to try and build up a community. I think that you don't want to show up and then have somebody walk away with that kind of a taste in their mouth, unless that's what everybody's doing and nobody's going to complain about it while you're playing or after. Like you don't want to show up with like voodoo and be like, oh, look how busted voodoo is, and then spend 45 minutes after your game talking about how busted voodoo is with anybody who will listen. Like that's not going to sell anybody on the game.
I would say if you're doing a demo game, the best thing to do a demo game with is probably just the core box. Like keep it simple.
Yeah.
Like it's all there, and plus you could show the person like this is why you should buy this, because this character, and this character are in, like, if you want to get competitive, top meta lists. Like so the core box is still important, and that way they're already familiar with the characters when they go to buy it. I still highly recommend the core box to anybody looking to get into it. So along with like getting things going in the store, like how would you run a demo? As I guess we're kind of on it already, but how do you run a demo?
Core box. I don't want to mess with anything. The only thing that I would switch up out of the core box is if somebody's got a pet character that they just love, and like that is what's going to bring them into the game to play. Then you're like, okay, sure. Like, all right, let's swap out this guy for that guy. And,
I think that's fair. Yeah.
But the core box models are simple enough and straightforward enough. They don't have all the walls of text that some of the newer pieces do. Yeah. So I think that's a big one.
Yeah, I believe that I need to not take anything. It's just got to be straight core. They can play their Black Panthers, but no Quicksilvers for me.
Yeah.
So my question.
Gotta set the hook.
my question on that is, with Steve getting a buff but not Red Skull, do you think the core box is still a fairly even pack?
I don't think Steve is that crazy. Even like Red Skull hasn't changed all that. He hasn't changed at all. Steve in and of himself is better, but core box doesn't have any size 3 characters, so a big part of what they made better about him doesn't really matter. And the 5 shield throw and the auto power, that's not going to break the game either way, I don't think.
Yeah, and until they change the cards that are actually in the core box itself, I think the core box is balanced against itself pretty well. So if anything, those teams are kind of unbalanced. The one with Zemo is a little bit too good, in my opinion.
Because it's got Zemo.
Mostly.
Oh, imagine if
he's Iron Man, I think, is actually a bigger deal than Steve.
Yeah,
Iron Man.
So I would just play him with the cards that are in the box.
That's fair. Oh, cool. Yeah, I highly recommend just core box it. It's just easier, and it's showing off a product that you're trying to encourage them to buy. It's like, look, you get all this stuff that you just played this game with for this cheap. Like it's such a great business model for AMG to produce that thing. Yeah.
Some of the best people to get into this game are people that are just going to play the core box against each other and just have some fun. Because the thing we found about those kind of people is that sooner or later somebody wants to get an edge on their regular partner, and so they'll buy another expansion or two, and then be like, okay, now I got these to throw into that mix.
Yeah, completely true. What about running events? Like, what do you typically try to do for events?
I think you need a mix of competitive and casual events. Casual events always disappoint the more competitively focused characters. Almost, or not characters, but players. And competitive events can really just like destroy a casual's perspective of the game. So I think that having a mix of those two lets the community stay together, especially in a game like this, where like it's such a fantastic game that you can push it very far into the competitive spectrum, but you can just, pick some models and throw them on the table and have a good time too. So I think that keeping the communities together, not, letting that casual competitive divide grow too wide. I think you want to have both styles of events. And again, you got to have that store owner in your back pocket. You got to have somebody who's getting kits. You got to have somebody who's willing to give up a Saturday that they could pack in 60 Magic players to have 15 people come and play Crisis Protocol.
Yeah. A question with that is, how do you run like 2 events a month, or you do like switch off competitive the next month, casual next month? Like, how does your store do it?
So for us, that's kind of a work in progress still. So we've got 2 stores in the area, 3. We've got 3 stores in the area, of which I'm able to go to 2 pretty regularly. I don't really know what's going on at the 3rd store. I think that they're more casual focused, but like I said, we've got a lot of bleed over between the stores. So I need to get over to the 3rd store in the area and just, start spending some time there too. But it's been busy for me with work. I haven't been able to, blah, blah, blah. None of that matters. My focus is I want to run a hardcore competitive event every 3 months or so.
Yeah.
I don't think that pushing them more often than that is going to, like, you just wind up playing the same things and the same people at all these events if you push them too much closer than that. At 3 months, you've got time for a meta to kind of like grow and develop and change, and people are playing a different roster at the next one. You'll have new players that are coming in to try their hand. You'll have old players that are taking a break. Like 3 months is a long enough time. You got 4, somewhat major tournaments a year. And also, if you can coordinate with a larger area, which I think is also huge, if you can get, people that are a town or 2 over to be like, hey, I run my events on like, basically every 3 months. These are the dates that I'm trying to run them on. What if you guys did something similar, on another month? And then you start to get people traveling between groups, which is also like some great secret sauce. That's fair. Yeah. And then the other 2 months, I think that's where I want to see like more casual focused events. And most of our events have just been like a game night that we've just kind of promoted a little bit and had people show up to, like, we did the Juggernaut event was the most recent one we did. And that was fun. Nice. We had tons of people that we've never seen at any of our tournaments that showed up to this like random Thursday. So I think that it's good. It's good to have both. TLDR, both.
TLDR, both. Fair. Hyper, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Full disclosure, I just got back, so no.
Oh, okay. Fair.
Sorry.
Fair enough. All right. So I guess for me, I would just say I think it's pretty much what you said. Like, run both. Like, people want casual, people want competitive. I don't really know what the best mix of it is. I think with having like multiple stores like in your area, that's kind of almost a benefit, where you can see like feel out the store, like, hey, more people in this local area care more for the casual side of stuff, so we'll run more of our casual events over here. And then this store definitely has more of the competitive edge. It has more space. This is where we'll run the competitive events. And plus, if you're in the same city, like, people aren't afraid to drive like an hour to play in a tournament. Like, that's just been my experience.
Yeah, even 2 hours. Like 2 hours is about the range. Like that's about it. We don't really see many people traveling more than 2 hours to any events that we've done, and we don't really travel more than two and a half.
Yeah.
So like Atlanta's about 2.5. That's about as far as we go.
For our local game nights, it's like it's people who are driving like an hour, I would say, at most. Mm-hmm. And then for the tournaments that I've both gone to in like Orange County or that I've had at my local shop, we cross-pollinate, which is really nice. I see folks who I don't get to see all the time.
DeLuca had asked me why I wasn't at your event last month or whenever. I think it was last month or a couple of weeks ago, rather.
Yeah.
And I was like, is it that close? Like, is it that close? And then I looked it up, and I was like, that's a 6-hour drive. Like, I would need a hotel for that one.
Nope. I'll go about 6 hours is about as far as I'll go for like a con kind of events. Like NashCon's like 6 hours for me. Like Nova's like 6 hours for me. I'll do those. Those are fun. I'll drive or fly to something like that. But just for a store event, like I gotta have like the right hair up my butt to want to do something crazy like that. The stars have to align.
Yeah. I was like, is he that close? Like,
I see events that Merzane throws in like Birmingham, like with Kenny and Canadian Rosane, and I'm like, oh man, it's like 4.5 hours. It's like way out of my preferred range, but it's not quite to like the extremes. I'm like, I want to, but that's expensive for
I'd have
a
to
day.
wake up. I'd have to wake up at 5. I wouldn't get home until 2. Worth it. The wife might be a little mad at me.
Maybe a little.
Yeah. That's forgiveness or permission.
yeah.
Make the call.
All right, so let's move on to. Oh wait, actually, we should probably pause right here, do a quick little intermission because Zoom is about to run out of time.
Oh, there we go.
Beloved
So-
Zoom.
Yeah, perfect timing. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause this and give you guys a new invite. So everybody, please hold on for this
Maybe.
riveting. All right, I'll be right back.
Recording stopped.
Okay, you guys are here. All
Cool.
right.
I'm back. If you want to do the thing that my group does, we can touch on that.
Yeah,
About
yeah.
how we try not to overlap much.
Cool.
Recording in progress.
faction-wise?
Yeah.
Oh, I lost Sam's face. Oh, there it is. Oh no, what happened this time? Why is it so different? Do. Don't mind the man behind the curtain.
Doing it live.
Boom. Yeah, I gotta figure out something to do about this whole 40-minute thing. 40-minute episodes, that's the limit. We're done. All right. Recording. Cool. All right, get back to it. All right. Doing a live. People here with the live experience and probably the actual podcast experience will suffer for like the last 45 seconds of pain because I'm too lazy to go through and edit this out.
There we go.
Yes.
Plus, it makes them want to come watch the live stuff, right? Because they get to see all this
Yeah.
what's happening at once.
Yeah, experience this pain in real time.
Yeah. All right. So Sam, you have something special that your group does. You want to hit on that?
Yeah, so like we touched on this, I think in like the first episode, but like the idea is that we don't like to do a lot of overlap on our factions. So to some extent, it's kind of like first come, first serve, where like somebody's like, hey, I want to play this, or if somebody has if a couple players want to play the same thing, like nobody's gonna like shut you down over it. But we also don't tend to everybody's not going to bring Avengers every week. A lot of people are bringing 1 or 2 rosters, which is great. And so we just kind of say like, hey, I want to play this, and then we play it until we're done with it. And it lets us do as much exploring as we want to without feeling like we're too faction locked. And then we just kind of go at it. So like right now we've got it helps us. So like it's easy to say that, but it also means that we're not trying to we're not going to have too skewed of a meta. So people you're not just going to show up at our store and just play Avengers all day, or have some everybody at the store plays Inhumans. That's kind of an odd one. Okay. So
that'd be really cool.
That's a fun store.
Everybody's playing Inhumans. That's what you want. Or everybody's playing X-Force. That's what you really want.
Lizards died and gone to heaven.
That would be. Where's the
Yeah.
store at? Where is the store at?
We got a lot of mutants right now. At least I want to say there's two people who've been playing X-Force, and 2 or 3 have been playing X-Men. So it's a lot of mutants. Oh, and Brotherhood. So
That's good.
one player playing Brotherhood.
X-Men, Brotherhood, and Web Warriors are, I think, the 3 I see most often.
Yeah, that tracks.
I would say Brotherhood. Brotherhood's definitely up there. Brotherhood and Syndicate lately have been the tops. Actually, at the store that I've been trying to go to there's actually a couple X-Force, which is surprising.
Hell yeah.
My the tournament I went to last month, my first round was against X-Force, which was I'm surprised I didn't mention that one. It was really surprising. Like, it was great game too. It was real close. X-Force v X-Force is always super close. It's just like whoever has the best dice. Oh, and it could be like one die roll that's just completely different. Oh, great game. Anyways, yeah, though it's I like that idea a lot. It's something that I kind of want to introduce. There's a local store here that's moving closer to me. I'm waiting for them to open up, and I've already been talking to that owner about running Marvel events at his store and doing stuff for him with Marvel. And so I'm hoping to run something similar. And it's like, if it comes down to it, it'd be kind of cool just to like do like a draw from a hat to like draw an affiliation and then like be like, oh, I'm playing Inhumans for the next month. I think that kind of idea is kind of neat. Just because it broadens people's outlook of it, especially if they don't care too much. I think if somebody's like, no, I want to play X-Men, then it's like, cool, yeah, man, like, you do your thing. But provide that option. I think it'd be kind of a cool experiment that I want to try doing. And plus it's like I pretty much have everything, so it's like I'm not afraid to let people borrow models at an event or game night or something like that. I think that's something that kind of another thing that we kind of missed on hitting on is like, I guess I don't want to tell people don't be stingy with your models because like you paid for it, you painted it, you did what you wanted to it. But I guess that's kind of the best way to say it is like people will, I guarantee people will respect your toys. Like if I let somebody borrow one of my miniatures, I would expect them to respect it as much as I would respect their miniature if I borrowed something of theirs. Something cool that that store that I went to that did the tournament, they actually had a full range of models that anybody, if they didn't have a character, they could borrow it from the store, and like they didn't charge anybody for it. Because I've seen that in the past, where like, hey, you want to use this model, you pay $5 and use this model for the day. Wow. But this store didn't do that. They just had every model. It's like, hey, if you don't have this, because I didn't have Thanos at the time actually. And he's like, hey, if you want to borrow something, just let me know, and you can use the store's version of Thanos. It's awesome. Like I think more stores should do something like that. They have a great setup. Like, it's a really cool store, by the way.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, like it's amazing. So yeah. Anything else you guys want to hit on for community building? I guess the number one thing that we haven't really hit on is don't be a dick. Like, I don't know how else to say it. It's pretty straightforward and blunt with that one, but it's like there's no reason to go around and like, I'm gonna drop the most OP theme into the brand new person and show them what it's really like to play. Because I've always heard stuff from like 40K where people just do that, where it's like, and even War Machine, like you try to play a game like that and you get into it, you're brand new, and the person's just gonna stomp you, and that's fun. But it's like, you're trying to get this person into the game. Like, play like you wanted somebody to give you your demo game. That's how I see it. Like,
I think some people like getting jumped in.
Yeah,
That's like getting jumped in experience. But it's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. Like we had a guy that was picking up Black Order right around the same time that we were having, like 3 to 5 new players showing up, and it was like, all right, man. Like, he was playing Black Order and Web Warriors. It was popular there for a minute, and I was like, you just make sure you play the Web Warriors half into them.
Yeah, I think I may have been that guy when I first started out, not intentionally, just because this is my first mini game. So sure. I remember very fondly the first tournament I ever went to. I brought Defender Portals with MODOK because I was like, oh yeah, this is like good. I don't know how good these people are. I've never played with anyone who's not on TTS, and I didn't win, but I did very well. And but like halfway through the event, I was playing with someone who I'd never met them before, and I don't know if they're different with people they know or something like that, but they were just like being kind of like staring directly at the game and not really talking to me. So I didn't really feel bad when I did like field dressing stuff and like just brought someone back to life before I activated them. And they're like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. And they like called over a judge, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man, but I totally can do this.
Oh, wait.
But yeah, no, it's just like, I think for me, I still have to figure that out. I have to get like a sense of people before I play a game with them. And I've gotten better about just like asking about that and not being awkward. So if you're like me and you also are new to minigaming entirely, and you're not like one of these guys who are just new to Marvel, don't be afraid to talk to your opponent beforehand and be like, hey, like, how much of this game have you played? It might sound condescending in your head, but I promise you, just like having that honest conversation the first time you play with someone will be appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Social
think-
contract.
I think something of note though is it's definitely worth like showing somebody who's new like crazy interactions, but it might be worth like being like, hey, here is something that could happen right now. I'm not gonna do this because it's broken, and I'm absolutely just an NPE and make you not like this game state. And then sometimes they'll just be like, let's do it just so I can see how this plays out. Or they'll be like, yeah, I appreciate it now that I know. But I've had both sides of the table of that where like, especially like I'll talk through stuff a lot more if I'm playing like either a demo game or someone's newer. I'll talk through stuff a lot more and basically just give them all the imply like intent. That's what I'm looking for. All my intentions. I would just be like, I am planning on moving this here. Are you sure you want to move that close to me? I will murder this character. Especially when I'm playing something newer. That's typically what I do is I'll do that. I had a bad issue that I was so used to doing that even during like TTS tournaments and real life tournaments, I would do that during the tournament game. Like I'm gonna be moving over here to the right. Like, are you sure that you want to be doing this? Oh, thanks. Yeah, that's I didn't even see that. Thanks. I'm gonna move over here now. And you just lost. Sorry. The wife. Well, the wife would always say, she'd be like, why do you tell everybody what you're doing during the game? And I'm just like, I'm nice, I guess.
You're being an ambassador. You're being an ambassador of the game.
I really wish AMG would do some sort of ambassador program, either like press gainer type thing, where it's like do something for the people who are building these communities at local stores. I know in the past it really wasn't like a thing just because of COVID, but now I feel like they have like enough of growth that they could easily implement a program of some sorts. Like I've always liked programs like that.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I don't know exactly what it should look like, but I would love to see something like that.
Yeah. So we got a comment in the chat from Strikes Midnight. I think being competitive is fine after you get the game down, but with newbies, I'd rather someone explain the game to me or be open to having questions. I think at first just play whatever you want to get a feel for it. Then you can change it if you'd like to become more competitive. Yeah, exactly. It's just like supporting those people, make them want to play the game more instead of just crushing them. Because you crush their souls, like is. Let's say
Fred taught me that.
Like you can do that at tournaments if you really feel like it, but when you're playing at your local store, don't just like murder the new person. Is that fun for you? Like, I've had some games that I've been able to bring back because I wasn't new at that point, where folks were just like trying their best to play a single player game, and it's like, dude. Like, I'm really glad that you thought up this crazy combo where you have Proxima Midnight and Corvus Go, and then you, Siege of Darkness, and you have like 85 attacks in a turn. But I don't care. like that's really cool. That's really cool. You can do all this stuff. But have you thought beyond that? But yeah, like another thing about Strikes Midnight comment that I want to touch on. I have really good friends of mine who, like, we're all good at the game. Like, we've all been playing for a long time, and they've played other war games, and we'll still talk through stuff. We'll play games that are like at a very high competitive level, even like at a casual event or it's at our shop on Fridays or something, and we'll talk through everything just because that's the way you learn. Is you talk through everything. You don't want to get gotcha'd. You don't want anyone to get gotcha'd. Like, for me, I would rather put you in a box that has literally no exit than gotcha you.
Heck yeah. I think phase 2 of community building is also getting your I mean, for lack of a better term, like your travel team together. Like, if you've got people that want to go and play some events that's, that requires you to drive to a town or a game store over, like, you're no longer trying to beat each other. Like, you are maybe once you face each other, like in a competitive event or something like that, but you're not trying to beat each other on Tuesday and Thursday game nights. You're trying to help each other get better so that when you go somewhere, you're like, yeah, like, we just showed up and like rocked that whole tournament out. Or like, we showed up and got rocked by that whole tournament crowd. Like, we got some stuff to work on. And I think that kind of a mindset where you're not trying to, you're no longer teching for each other. You're no longer trying to, like, I got to beat Mike this week or else. It's like, no, like, I want to, just learn more. You're starting to learn and build with each other instead.
When I went to LVO, which was my first major event, and so far only major event I've ever been to, it was really fun for all of the guys that I knew, all my SoCal guys. I think we all made it to top 16. So after that first day, we were all like super jazzed. A couple of us went out to dinner together. We were like, yeah, SoCal's representing, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
And then, of
exactly.
course, we all started losing the next day, but it was still really fun.
And you commiserate on the other side of it.
Exactly. It was a good time, though.
Or you knock each other out, and that's like, I don't know, better and worse at the same time.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy my first game in top 8 was against my buddy Brandon, and I was like, well, one of us is going to take this. So
Yep.
That's good. That's good. Speaking of using stuff that's potentially bad, you want to hit a little bit on Fury?
oh, is that directed at me?
I mean, you keep saying how you want to talk Fury, and I don't really know how else we could do besides going in circles about community building now at this point. I think we hit pretty much all the main points that we can.
I think grunts in general are something that you should not be playing with new people. I'll bite the bullet and say that you probably no, you shouldn't probably. You just shouldn't play with Black Order against new people. You shouldn't play with any list that's like extremely good at anything unless you're
Sorry,
Fred. Yeah, you should just I mean, if you're learning
Play
Black Order,
X-Force.
that's a different story. Yeah,
Yeah.
X-Force can be good too, man. You need when you're playing with newer people, just I play leaderless spider foes when I'm playing with new people. You know, I'm just playing I play my green team, where it's all the green guys. I'm just trying to have a good time and let them understand the basics of the game before I'm like, okay, now that you're ready, I'm gonna sweep the leg with my
gloves off.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, and I know we're talking about Fury here, but yeah, you just shouldn't play grunts. They're way too good, at least in the way they currently are implemented in the game.
Well, it's also
to be playable.
It's also adding a new mechanic to the game. Let's get the core mechanics of the game down first before you start but you start introducing advanced mechanics. Because number one, we're still new to the grunt mechanic, and we've been playing it since the game came out. So the grunt mechanic itself is new, and there's things that people are messing up, and there's nothing worse than teaching somebody rules and then being like, oh, we were doing that wrong for a whole 2 years.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like Wakanda.
Yeah.
Oh, that's next level rules.
I
Rules
love
mistakes.
Yeah, we all got Wakanda wrong for 1.5 years, right? Am I getting that right?
Including the developer.
Yes, we were all playing it wrong. And then they fixed it and we were like, oh shit, we were kind of doing that wrong.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Doris.
Oh yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah, but Fury, I think if you're reposition is a very powerful card. I think there are ways that you can certainly, how do I want to phrase this? Don't try and turn one square Wakandan herb on someone who's played the game 3 times, because then you are just being a dick. I think that's the flattest way I can phrase it. And that doesn't mean only Wakandan herb, you letter of the law, folks. I'm saying don't score 3 cubes round 1. Don't steal the entire board with Black Cat and Steve. Just come on. If they're new, let them be new. You don't have to teach them all the evil shit, because then they're going to think this whole game is just evil shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how we get comments that we see in Discord and Facebook of wow, this game is not balanced at all, because that's the only interaction they've seen of the game.
Exactly. That's why I think that's a big reason why so many folks are Thanos busted, Thanos OP.
Yeah.
It's because, they're newer or newer-ish and they don't know how to deal with him. And if you don't know how to deal with Thanos, if it's the first time you're seeing Thanos on a table, yeah, he's crazy. He can do so many things. But you know who else can do so many things? Rogue. The first time I saw Rogue and I'm good at this game, I was like, what is going on? Why are you still saying things? Shut up. It's my turn now.
How much more can she do?
How many powers does this lady have?
Yeah, going back to the just playing broken stuff against new people and why not to do it. I think that if you put together a sweet casual list of just all your favorite characters. So right now my current project is a Punisher list. That's just Punisher and people he's teamed up with or reluctantly teamed up with. And I'm not going to worry about affiliation at all. I'm just going to put some models that I like on the board and kind of move on. It helps you get better at game fundamentals as well. It's not just about, you're not really there to beat somebody. You're there to teach them the game. So why not get some learning experience yourself too? All right, how do I just get better at positioning? You're not trying to pull off some busted combo. You're trying to actually just work on your own fundamentals.
Yes. I talked to my wife about that actually. Whenever we play a game, she's like, do you ever get anything from actually playing me? Because Sheets has probably maybe 10 to 15 games since we've had it, right? And every time she's just do you ever get anything from actually playing? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like one, your brain with this game works differently than somebody who's been playing it and seen the same stuff over and over and over again. You're gonna see that avenue that I don't see, and you're gonna teach me something because you are playing a different way than what is like meta or what is like considered like good, because you don't know like I should be moving this way. Like, who knows? Maybe you're just gonna run backwards to your board edge, and then all of a sudden that's something that ends up being game breaking for whatever reason. Like there's just small stuff like that, and and then like you said, it helps you get down your mechanics of the game and like who you're playing with, and trying to figure out what you are doing with your positioning, and it also helps you learn like little combos that you can try. Like just try janky stuff because it's fun. I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna try seeing if this weird Wolverine Colossus play is gonna work. Because you're like, I don't want to play this into like somebody who's played for as long as I have, and because then it's just gonna make me not want to ever do it because I'm not gonna feel how this play actually works. Like, yeah, I enjoy playing games with demo games or like with her or other people that are new, just because you end up learning something regardless.
Yeah, there's an old sword fighter axiom where it's I don't fear the man who has done one strike 1,000 times. I fear the man who's done 1,000 strikes one time. Amateurs are, and like this extends to martial arts and all sorts of stuff. Amateurs are really fun to train with because they're not going to make it easy for you because they don't know how to. If that tracks. Like, if you're doing like Aikido or like jujitsu, and the person you're working with like has done all this shit before, then they're gonna be able to like, oh, you're putting me in this lock, so I'm gonna know how to bend to make this like least painful on my joints. Someone who has no idea what they're doing, if your technique isn't good, if you couldn't do this to someone like on the street, it's not gonna work because they're gonna be like, oh, I don't feel the pressure in the right place, so my body is not being forced to bend. I'm not working with you. I love playing with amateurs. They're great.
I got a magic story about that. My old magic buddies went to a tournament playing a super tuned, it was a Necropodence deck, black, back in the 90s, to date myself. So he shows up with basically like just a top tier, S tier list that, or deck that, has a great chance of just winning the event just by showing up. And he sits down against a guy who pulls out like a 250, 500 card, like just like box of cards that are unsleeved, dumps them out on the table neatly, but he just kind of dumps them out and just starts shuffling this giant stack of cards. And my buddy's like, hey, what's that? And he's like, oh, this is all my red cards. It's what I'm playing today. And the guy proceeds to drop like a hard counter to his list on the first turn and gives him a first round loss.
That's amazing.
Just
this is all my red cards. He was playing the green team. I like that guy.
Yep. Solid. So watch out for the amateurs. They're going hard in the paint, even if they don't know it.
It's good.
It is. It's also, it's really cool. This happened with my ex-girlfriend, is like when they're accidentally playing OP combos, and it's like you instinctively play more afraid because they have this ability and they just never use it. So you've been playing like very scared the whole game because of this thing that you think could happen. It's like I was playing with Mark Giroux recently, and I dropped my Thanos core or my Thanos Proxima Bucky list, and he was like, "Oh, you're affiliated." When people think they know what's coming, they don't have any idea what's coming.
Agreed. Is there anything else you guys want to hit on before we move on to the rest of the stuffs?
I got two more things for events, I guess. The first one is somebody has to want to run it.
Yeah.
That's big.
So that's pretty big. If the store doesn't run it, I've seen some places where like somebody like an employee is going to like handle the actual like event logistics, but then you still need like somebody who knows the rules to be willing to just stop playing whatever they're doing and help out. I have both run and TO'd like simultaneously, and I have just TO'd here this last event recently. And anything over 16 players, I don't think you should play in if you're also going to be running it. And there's some general rules that I like to break all the time. I'm not afraid to win my own event. You should probably not try to win your own event. And if you do, maybe be generous with any sort of prize pool that's getting handed out. And
Yeah,
then, this,
I was watching that. Back when
go
I
for it.
played Infinity, the guy who ran the tournaments for Infinity, that's how he was. He loved playing the game. So it's like
Mhm.
if it was the only times he wouldn't play is if him playing would cause a bye. He wouldn't do that.
Yeah, exactly. I
And
won't do
then
that.
the other thing is he was really good at the game, so he pretty much almost always took first place, but he never took the prizes. Like he just like he'd be like, yeah, no, I won, but like this is for you guys. Like it's fine. So that I big advocate of that. If it's your tournament, don't be sitting there and being like, mine.
I mean, so one other side of that is that even if you were just fully transparent and you didn't do anything,
Yeah.
underhanded, it's not a great look sometimes when, oh, look at these amazing pairings that this guy got all day.
Yeah.
Or
My
look at how like
precious.
all these tough players played into each other, and he never had to deal with any of that. So I think you just want to be really careful if you're going to run and TO, and be very generous with your players, because they're what makes the whole thing work.
Yeah.
And the second point that I had on this is get your terrain on the table. I mean, we've got a mix of really pretty stuff and really ugly stuff in our store, and my terrain is it's a mix of like professionally things that I've just like bought the way that they are, and things that I've painted poorly, and things that I haven't gotten around to painting yet. So just get stuff on the table, and you got to have tables to play. So if the store's not providing tables, then you got to get that terrain out there. You got to coordinate with your locals to have enough tables. You've got, extra players traveling, or you've got to ask people from out of town to bring their stuff. That's all. I'm done.
Cool. Hyper, you got anything you want to add to that?
No, you covered my thoughts pretty completely, I would say.
All right, cool.
I've also, I only have the player experience.
All right. Well, I guess we can move on and save like a full Fury talk until another time. But what about
I don't know what there is
Hobby?
to say. Like we all know he's busted, right? Like we're all in agreement there.
He's not that scary. He's just
mm,
kind of scary. Okay, so I guess fine. Let's just go ahead and do it. I think the number one thing that makes Fury so, oh my god, the sky is falling, is he is literally changing a core mechanic to the game, and that is the grunt being able to drop the token wherever they want to. That is by far the most OP thing that Fury is doing, is breaking a core mechanic. Now the next thing is breaking another core mechanic, and in Shield recycling Eye in the Sky. But again, it's breaking a core mechanic of the game. That's why it feels so good. But what else does Shield have going for them? It's like
that's the problem. Is even Eye in the Sky is unaffiliated. It just recycles in Shield. I think
it's still a
Fury
good card,
is
though.
Yeah, he's an obscenely good splash character right now.
Yep. I would argue, if you are going completely like meta, I want like super meta competitive like Fury. If you're having issues with extracts, it's the same thing with Thanos. If you're having issues with secures or going against scenario teams, you take Thanos. If you're having issues with your extract game, take Fury.
Voodoo.
Voodoo, yeah.
Those two. Like, I think Fury excels at the multiple extracts, and Voodoo's going to excel at the single extracts.
Also because most of the single extracts Fury straight up can't do anything about, or at least that's true for Alien Ship. I don't know if that's true for Senators. I think those might also be targets of opportunity.
Senators he cannot do. The only one that they could do is the Scrolls.
Yeah, so I really dislike Skrulls and Alien Ship. I think they are, I don't want to say poorly designed, but like having to roll for the crit and having like that RNG just be so important to like the overall game. Like if Toad goes up and grabs that turn one on the other side of the board of all your extract stealing or your extract being able to get stuff, it's like, well, I think I just lost turn one, and that's not a good feeling. I like Senators a lot more because it's that shell game. I did have to get custom tokens, and I also have been unfortunately told that even my custom tokens can be abused. So I've just have to been like, okay, look, I know you can kind of see the red if you look really close, but so we're both going to agree to not look really close. And that's my temporary solution for the moment. I might just paint the top of them black or something. But yeah, it's just single extracts that are so reliant on RNG are pretty stacked either way. Like either you have a reality stone user, or someone's just going to find it halfway through the game or very early in the game. And I don't like my game being that determined by single dice rolls.
Yeah.
But yeah, Alien Ship, my point is I've had to put Alien Ship back in a lot of my lists because it's a counter to Fury.
Yeah.
For Senators, the best method that I think there is to take your extracts and shuffle them up and if they pull out the senator mission from your extracts, then they found it.
Oh, I like
and if they
that.
didn't, then you discard one of them. So then the next time you've only got 2, and then
Yep.
the last one it's obvious.
That
I like
is-
that. Yeah, just
that's-
have all 3 face down the whole game.
Yeah, that's what I do
Yeah,
too.
pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good way to do it because then it's actually like nobody can just game it and like, oh, I saw you put the senator down on the left side. That's where it's at.
Mhm.
I say that, but I leaned on my senator's card on the edge of a table one day, and it's got a huge crease in it now.
Well,
Uh,
gotta buy new ones.
Gotta buy new ones.
Go buy another
or just,
Magneto, Sam.
or you just get
Yeah.
a six. Just get a, just get a 6-sided die, right? Make it
Yeah,
dice
that's
again.
that's fine too. Yeah, then you got 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whatever.
Yeah. Absolutely. But no, I don't know. Like Fury's interesting. I think his biggest downside is going to be like for people playing him is he's not too difficult to remove. He's not getting one-shotted by any means, but he is definitely not like an absolutely stout model who's just not going to die.
Dorm can do it. I think Dorm's actually really good into Fury for whatever that's worth.
That's fair because it's energy and he just like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's bring Dorm back, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
Fury's not very defensive, and that's fine. He shouldn't be.
That's why his
It's
eye in
pretty
the
easy
sky.
to remove. Yeah, that's the problem. Is Eye in the Sky is insane. And reposition is also quite good. The first game I played Fury, I got popped for 5 damage, and I teleported across the board, and he never dazed. So
Good. All right, let's stop talking about Fury. We got about 10 minutes left on this Zoom call,
Furious.
so let's go ahead and get through this. Hobby corner. Have you guys done anything hobby related in the past week?
I built a whole bunch of stuff because I
There you
was
go.
I was peer pressured into buying more shit last time I went to a game store. So I built the new Strange, Clea, Fury, and Baron Mordo in the past week.
Nice.
Nice. I built Shadowlands Daredevil and the ninjas. Watch out for those ninjas, guys. That's a whoo-hoo. It's like triple Okoye's with a side of Wong and Miles.
Jesus.
I still haven't done anything since Fury. I have been slacking. Like probably last week we did a lot of house projects. I guess you can count that as hobby.
Yeah.
Been busy doing some house projects. But this next week I need to get my shield grunts painted up and then I'll start working on Thanos finally.
I'm really excited to paint my shield grunts because I barely care about them, so it'll be good practice.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah. Good start.
All right. Any challenge or not challenge, any hobby challenges for the next week? For me, it's gonna be the shield grunts. I'm gonna get them done before next podcast.
I would like to paint one thing before next podcast, but I'm going to be out of town on Sunday through Tuesday, so that's probably just not going to happen.
Probably not.
Yeah. I want to clean up my convocation. I got like most of them just have like base coats down. So I want to try to work on those.
Okay. Okay, the Hyper Viper elevator pitch. 'Cause we didn't do one last week because we had a guest on. Hyper, have you prepared an elevator pitch?
Yeah. Okay, folks, buckle in. This is going to be a long one. Or a long-winded one. Should we do the next Zoom because we're about to die, right?
We got 8 minutes.
Oh, okay, that's plenty of time.
Okay.
Solid.
So this is a kind of rambly elevator pitch about how like the game really does punish going tall as opposed to going wide, so we should stop bullying all the high threat characters and let them be cool. So right now the game is really starting to punish going tall, and it will lead to an unhealthy meta state where going wide is how you just win. I've had games where against good players, against like good friends of mine, where they're like, oh, I want to play Hulkbuster, and I'll just like be like, oh, cool, I'm playing X-Force, and this crisis doesn't make me want to take Cable, so I just end up playing 7 wide, and he's like, well, you have 3 more activations with me, this is stupid. And it doesn't matter, like, you can have one really ridiculous character on the table, but if they have 5 or 3 more just like kind of okay characters, 3 more kind of okay is better than 1 really good. But yeah, most crises where you can stack extracts on a single person, they really punish them. It's like cubes and hammers are the primary examples I can think of. Cubes are constantly hurting that person. Hammers are giving you additional resources, like you get more attack dice, but you have to spend more for tactics cards, and you can't use the teleporty cards most of the time for Fury. And then the scenarios where you can't really run away, where Researcher and Gamma, you can still kind of flourish with tall teams, but if anything goes wrong, and this is true of almost any time you're playing tall, if anything goes wrong, and like a random toad like accidentally spikes into your Magneto and kills him, your game is drastically harder from that point on. Or like a much more common example is like your who's another tall guy, like your Juggernaut punches Nebula with 8 dice and does 0 damage. That's like suddenly the game is, oh no, my big guy did nothing. Your little guys are going to kill me, or just like take control of the scenario entirely by just out securing me. D's can be played tall, but if they get like an extract lead or a point lead, they can just run away from you the whole game. Just sad. B's are the same. Spider Infected and Spider Portals are literally designed to be like, don't go tall. Like I'll still do it because I like playing Hulk on spiders. I think he's great, just hangs onto it. But those 2 crises are like, hey, if you're wider, or like that in Sword, you're probably just gonna win. You have more chances to make those rolls. You have more chances to make things work your way. The only crisis I can really think of that punishes going wide is Herbs, and that's really debatable and really squad dependent, and also a lot of people already hate Herbs, so let's just move right past that one. There's an old axiom that bounty hunters use. It's the people being chased, they have to get lucky every single time to stay ahead of you. You, as the hunter, only have to get lucky once. The game is statistically more likely to be won by going wide. You have more chances, and you have like 5 dice isn't the greatest thing in the world, but everyone who's listening to this, everyone in this room, in this little podcast, has rolled like 3 crits on a 5-die attack and doesn't nuke something out of existence they had no reason to do. And now I have my big fat list of things that are annoying for tall characters. Incinerate, Honey Badger, Bitter Rivals, Blind Obsession, Helios, Ricochet Blast, Nebula, Bleed, Marifist, Terrigen Cloud, Mutant Madman, Petaflips in general, Spider Infected Cubes, Hammers, E-Shapes, Domino, Shadowlands, Daredevil, Leadership, Grunts in general, Wide Maps, Displacement Sides 3, Rogue, Loki, Scarlet Witch, Ebony Maw, Jean Grey, Star-Lord Leadership, and a million other things. Like there are so many options. If your opponent is running like a big 8 threat or a 6 threat, like a Hulk or a Dormammu or a Thanos, it's so easy to kill those things. And then just like, well, I lost my big main character and now I lose. And it becomes their job to just make that not happen, which means you have to run bodyguards. You have to have attack diversion. You have to make sure no threats can get anywhere near you, which just isn't realistic. Heroes for hire, sacrifice, escort to safety, bodyguards, field dressing. So many things that like if your big character dazes a character, well, they just get field dressing. And it's like, well, I did that, and now they still get their activation, so it kind of feels like I did nothing. There are so many things, so many things you can do to deal with tall players. And I've been telling this to my locals for I don't even know how long. Like I think it's months because I wrote this back in February. Or no, I wrote this in April. But still, at least a month.
Yeah.
The way that tall teams like win is by making you scared. If you are afraid to go into someone like Magneto or Juggernaut or Thanos or Corvus, they've already beaten you. You cannot be afraid to take the fight to these people, because if you do, you have a serious shot at winning. Like I'm not saying, run in the Honey Badger and expect her to like fight Corvus toe to toe if you don't have exceptional healing. But you can expect her to take a hit because she has the taunt thing, the too dangerous to ignore. You need to like Black Order and other attrition teams like Brotherhood, like Tall Brotherhood, are going to commit to the fight, right? So you might as well commit to the fight yourself and beat them at their own game, which is by no means impossible. I could keep going, but I think I should not.
Yeah, we'll stop you there. I think that's the elevator opened and the person ran away. All right. So let's move on to challenge of the week for next week. I get this one. Let's do the fastball special. Give me a Colossus and Wolverine using fastball special focus list. So, because I think this was not explored as much as it should have been, because I've been playing with it lately, card, and it's super fun. So build me a list focused around that. And you might as well focus on throwing 23 in there as well, because I've found that throwing this in there and Wolverines is super fun on Gamma or Demons. So there you go. Fastball special, Wolverine, Colossus. Those are the requirements. Everything else, you can do whatever you want. All right. So that's going to close us out before the Zoom call ends. Gotta work fast. Gotta work fast. I gotta figure out what the heck we need to do. Like, I don't know. I might just like go over to Riverside or something like that, or just pay for Zoom. I don't know.
Yeah, give us money, guys, so we can not have to worry about intermissions.
I mean, it is nice hearing Hyper Viper. So
Yeah.
well, we'll get through it.
The
We'll figure it out.
sacrifices we make for the greater good.
That's
we'll
right.
We'll figure it out. But thank you everybody for stopping by here on the Twitch and watching. Don't forget we stream Wednesday nights usually at 8:30 p.m. EST. Tonight was a little blunder, but yeah. And then yeah, come check us out on the post videos up on YouTube when I get around to it, and the podcast episodes be out on Thursdays now because it doesn't take that long because I'm lazy with editing. But it's all in good
it's
fun.
not lazy, it's pure.
Yeah, we like the raw data. That's what everybody wants to hear anyways. They want to hear all the screw ups. They want to laugh at it with us, and they want to just enjoy the podcast for what it is. Like if they didn't hear all of this right here because it was edited out, they'd miss out on at least one good laugh. Like
Bingo.
all right. With that being said, we have been the Rogue Agents, and you have been the listener.
I think you found it. That's the one. Let's
Is that
stick
the
with
one?
I did enjoy that. We're talking to you specifically.
All right. You have a good night.